Hey, wow. Okay, let's just get into this one because this is one of those conversations that kind of flips everything we have been told about agriculture on its head, like for real. So today we are talking about global agriculture for everyone to reach Terraful. That state where abundance is not a luxury, it's just a normal life, like breathing. You get me right? So the first thing we got clear, I mean straight up, is this idea that poverty in farming communities is because people are failing or not working hard enough. No, that is not it. That is not even close to the truth. Like if you actually zoom out and look at the world, you will see geography alone already decides so much. Some regions are blessed with rich soil, consistent rainfall, good climate cycles, and others zero. Others they have dry, rocky desert like unpredictable seasons. So how do we expect the same output from completely different conditions? That is not fair. That is not logic. That is just a broken system to pretending to be equal. And then you have got people like millions who can farm, like they have the skill, the knowledge, even the will, but they don't have the land, especially in urban areas, or they are sitting on land they don't legally own, or the land is there but it's not arable, or they are stuck in an environment where even trying is just survival mode, not growth. So when we say why are people poor, we are asking the wrong question. The real question is why is agriculture locked behind location ownership and access barriers? Like who decided that food production or something every human depends on should be limited by where you are born? Who decide that? So now, here is where it gets even more wild. Because if you look at the population distribution right now, most people are not even in rural areas anymore. Cities are pegged like with full capacity of millions of people living under completely disconnected environments, or let's just say urban areas are completely disconnected from agriculture around 90%. So, and those in rural areas, they are the ones that are taking the entire food systems for local urban areas, often at small scale, often struggling, often sometimes not even producing enough to feed their own families. That is even crazy when you really think about it. So the majority consumes, the minority produces, and the system somehow expect balance. So that's unsustainable by design, that's unstable by design. So now imagine this shift. I want you to just imagine this for a second. What if agriculture wasn't tied to being physically in a field? What if participation in food production become permissionless? What like in anyone anyway, like someone sitting in a seat apartment could actively participate in agriculture across the globe. And imagine someone in USA contributing to farming systems in Zimbabwe. Imagine someone in Harare being part of agricultural output happening in Brazil, India, wherever, not as charity, not as observation, but as a real participation in a real outcomes. And now it gets deeper because it's not just about participation, it's about ownership, but not that old form of ownership where someone else who owns a farm controls and others all depend. This is agricultural co ownership based on co creatorship, where agriculture belongs to no one, but at the same time belongs to everyone. Wow, that sounds like paradoxical, but that is the point. You remove the gatekeeping of agriculture from single individuals. You can't enter unless rules to create a permissionless agriculture. You create a system where millions, no, or billions of people are involved in a decentralized, distributed agriculture systems, contributing, benefiting, and aligning at the same time. So now, instead of saying farmers versus consumers, that line actually disappears. Everyone becomes part of the agricultural system, and that is the only way to reach a truthful state of abundance. And Here is the crazy part: 90% of the global population could be involved in agriculture without ever stepping into the traditional field. Wow. So think about it. Let that sit for a second, because that changes everything. That means more resources flowing into agriculture, more intelligence, more coordination, more is resilient. And the people who were previously excluded, now they are included. They are essential. So the 90% which is not right now in agriculture will be actively participating in agriculture, but is still continuing with their non-agricultural normal life. And this is how you start moving towards what we call terraful, a state where abundance isn't forced, it emerges. Because now agriculture is no longer limited by geography alone, it's expanded by human collaboration at a global scale. Food systems become stronger, more adaptive, more equitable, and people don't just receive food, they are part of it, creating it, shaping it, and at the same time sustaining Terraful systems themselves. So now tie this into Chipies ecosystem and start seeing where this is going, because Chipies ecosystem is taking Terraful state as not just a theory, but it is is a way of life that is supposed to be in humanity and also in civilization systems, with the cosmocrat providing this infrastructure for a distributed, decentralized, and transparent terraform agricultural system. So a system where co-creatorship becomes the consensus. Imagine an agricultural or terraform system that is not owned by anyone, but driven with co-creatorship consensus, where contributions, alignments, and rewards are driven by the community or co-creatorship consensus mechanism, whether in physical value, whether in a value exchange or other forms, depending on how network evolves, as long as the consensus mechanisms are not rigid but adaptive towards how people want to tackle a specific problem within a specific area. And yeah, this is indeed about including people, because inclusion still amplifies someone is controlling access. But this is permissionless. Imagine the cosmocracy doesn't need anyone to approve someone to actually participate in agriculture, but you can actually do that through smart contracts and be able to verify on a transparent way anything that is happening on a specific agricultural field, and at the same time be able to actually be transparent of anything output from the inputs, how they are being used, it is all those kind of things. So that is restoring independence, that is removing the stress tied to survival, especially food insecurity, which is one of the deepest pressures on human life today. So yeah, we are looking at the future where agriculture becomes a global shared system. That is Terraful, where humanity operates as one coordinated organism rather than fragmented individual competing for resources, where we solve not just the hunger but the anxiety around it, the inequality around it, and the limitations around it. So yeah, when you really sit with it, you start realizing that Chipies ecosystem, Terraful agriculture is not optional. Like, if we truly care about humanity thriving, not surviving, but thriving, really, really thriving, then system like this becomes inevitable, because the current structure is already showing it's already failing to or too many people. So, yay, wow, just imagine waking up in a world where food is not a question mark, where your existence is already connected to abundance, where your participation matters, even if we are not physically farming. That is terraform, that is agriculture for everywhere.